It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 24th day of August, 2021. I'm coming to you from Forest in Bedford County, Central Virginia area, right outside of Lynchburg. A really exciting day today as I have a special guest on the show today who I'll get to in a second. But first, folks, we do have to touch base on the weather. I know you guys hate to hear that one, but we do have some quick things to discuss on weather this morning. Finally, it looks like we're going to get rid of Henri today. It's located now some 100 miles southeast of Boston. It's still carrying about 25 miles an hour, but it's moving off at 14 miles an hour. Pressure's up to 1,007. It should dissipate by this afternoon. Now, you got three systems down there in the Atlantic. All of them have 60% or so chance of further development. So we're going to have to keep an eye on those for the next few days. Currently, they're not named systems, so it might be a few days before we really have to seriously follow them. And then out in the Pacific, Marty is continuing as a tropical storm. It's continuing to move away from land, probably will weaken in the next few days. But then right off the case of Honduras is one we have to watch as it is strengthening and possibly could brush along the western coast of Mexico, but that's one we're going to have to keep an eye on as we get ahead a few days. So I assume that there's no problem with audio or video as nobody's screaming at me on the chat room yet. So with no further ado, I'll introduce our guest. My guest this morning is Frank Bubba Shumard, who actually lives in Shell Knob, Missouri, but they have just come back from a wonderful Alaska cruise on the Nieuw Amsterdam. So with no further ado, let me introduce Bubba. Bubba, welcome to Chillie Chats.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Okay. I've got to start off before anything. Obviously, you guys are experienced cruisers. How many Holland America cruises have you been on?
We are 4-star, and Chillie, we've cruised at least twice a year for the past 15 years.
Okay, your volume is breaking up a little bit.
Yours did too, a little bit. I'm sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
All right.
Okay. So you guys flew out to Seattle. It looks like that's a picture of you guys on the ship, I assume. That's not an adult beverage, is it?
Could be, and I'm famous for those.
Aha. Yeah, we'll get to that. Seattle, Washington. That looks like it's after you sailed, looking back at the lovely city.
Love Seattle.
All right. Holland America. Tell us about the protocols on checking in and getting on the boat.
The amazing thing about it, Chillie, is it was the fastest check-in I have ever had with HAL. You do a lot of your paperwork before you ever leave home. We took our security pictures. We filled out a lot of health questionnaires. We went and got a pre-cruise COVID test. Had to have that 72 hours, no farther back than that for COVID testing. We arrived at the port, took our luggage out of the vehicle, and went through, and it was 15 minutes from the time we walked into the building till I was in our suite. It was truly amazing.
Unbelievable. Did Holland America and Nieuw Amsterdam, was there any mask wearing on the ship itself?
everybody, it seemed, wore a mask. There were a few that, and I'll be real honest, there were occasionally I walked out, everything seemed so normal, I forgot mine.
Yeah.
And of course, you have to do the run back to the room, and Lynn got to where my wife got to where she would do a checklist before we left the room. But yes, everybody pretty much wore a mask in the public areas. If there was wide open and outside, obviously by the picture, we weren't wearing one then. But there were a few that even wore them outside. I just being double vaccinated and having been tested and all of them tested, I felt pretty safe.
Yeah. By the way, you do clean up pretty nice.
Well,
that's you and Lynn all decked out for, I would assume, for the elegant night.
I have a good coach. You're not wearing that, it's.
And actually, that's even a different night, and you clean up well. It looks like.
I wear a tie every night to go to dinner with her. I feel like it's a level of respect. Going in an elegant restaurant, a 5-star restaurant, with my lady, and I'm going to clean up a little bit.
That's awesome. That's really nice.
It's old school, and where I got it with Van as a friend of yours. You know exactly where it came from.
Yeah. By the way, for my audience, one of my old running mates back from elementary school, Bubba and Van went to school together at Fort Union Military Academy. I won't say how many years ago. That was close to the Civil War, because Van and I are older than dirt.
The dust was settling as I got there.
Very good. All right. One of the reasons that I fell in love with Holland America was the food. How was New Amsterdam's food?
I gained 15 pounds.
Then that's a good sign.
No kidding. 15 pounds. And it was absolutely amazing. Everything they put in front of you, everything they even offer you on the menus, it rocked me, because I had expected a little bit of downscaling, because there were 1,500 people aboard a ship that holds a lot more than that. And I expected things to be a little downscaled. They were not. The Pinnacle Grill was, as usual, amazing. The main dining room was super. Holland America, it seemed like, anticipated this issue we're having with the illness years ago, because they started working in the Lido handing your food out. You didn't reach in and grab things. Yeah. And I think they're ahead of the ball game. They lowered some for lack of a better term, spit shields, but you don't touch the food.
One of the things that I liked about Holland America, and I'm a little frustrated with Carnival as a whole, is that the mainline Carnival ships are back to the old-fashioned buffet, and where people are reaching in and grabbing stuff. And I think Holland America, and one of the things Royal Caribbean has done right, I think Celebrity's done right, is with the fact that they have people serving the buffet.
Yeah. I don't want to be, and you'll have to excuse me, I've got a little bit of sweat in my eyes. We're knocking on 98 degrees here. I don't want to be handling a spoon that somebody else has handled.
Right.
And I don't want to be handling a salad tong that has somebody handled and then fell in the salad. So am I a little bit of a germaphobe? I'm 69 years old almost, and medically at risk. You bet I'm a little cautious.
Sure.
But cautious to the point of I'm not going to let it keep me back.
Yeah. The if I'm not mistaken, that's no, that's not. That's looking out in the center of the ship, isn't it?
That's the ocean bar. playing our favorite pastime. We are avid backgammon players and have been since the day we met. We have a backgammon board in both cars. And when I rode motorcycles, we had one in the bike too.
Awesome. Okay.
You'll see us with a board pretty much all the time.
All right. Then you, your first day, you woke up and that's what you looked at out your window.
That I was totally not prepared for. I'm prepared for, water and mountains, but this just blew me away. It was truly amazing. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not. Sometimes you have to forgive me. Sometimes technical issues and me don't get along real well, and I have to screw something up along the way.
Thank God for the guys and gals in the Neptune Lounge, because they got me hooked up with internet.
Oh, that's awesome. It looks to me like you're probably in. Is that Juneau?
That is Juneau. Yeah. We made a mistake on colors there. Lynn got us 2 very lightweight down jackets. Okay. And we thought, well, we want something where I can pick her up in a crowd. So we both got the bright yellow. And I wore an orange Harley Davidson long sleeve t-shirt under. And it turns out there are sweat bees like crazy in Alaska at this time of year. And they love yellow. We were the biggest flowers walking around they've ever seen.
Ah, okay. That would be your orange t-shirt you're talking about.
It is. And I felt violated by the time I got back to the boat.
And that's the 2 of you. Now, one of the things that I noticed, have y'all been to Alaska before, or did you just assume that you need to have that kind of clothing in the middle of the summer?
Lynn went a few years ago with her father before he passed away. It was his bucket list cruise. He passed away about 6 months after she got back. And she was pretty much prepared. And I had resisted going to Alaska for 5 years. I don't want to go. It's going to be cold. I want warm, and I want water, and I want swimming, and a cold Mai Tai in my hand, or a martini of the evening. And boy, I resisted it. And I'm so glad that she put her foot down and said, "You're going."
Yeah.
And was the best thing she could have done for me. I'm stubborn, but she's known occasionally for being able to coerce me into doing what she wants to do, and I'm so glad when she does it.
Yeah. The weather was a little iffy in parts of your trip, though.
We had under maritime law, if the visibility is at such a point, the foghorn has to go off every 2 minutes. Uh-huh. And thank God we were at the middle of the ship instead of under the bridge area. We could hear it, but it wasn't rattling the windows like a couple of people I heard talk about. We had a lot of fog. We had some mist, but Chillie, it wasn't bad. I mean, if you're sailing along, look out the window. Don't go to the foredeck in 14 knots of traveling down the road. Didn't make sense.
And that's in Ketchikan.
That is Totem Park in Ketchikan. My favorite stop by far.
Yeah, I like Ketchikan too. And that's you there with your Harley Davidson shirt. So, all right, now you're going to have to tell me one thing.
Sure.
How did you ever get started doing your daily cocktail?
Well, on the Sunday we were supposed to depart on our cruise, where our cruise was canceled 3 days before we were to depart when COVID hit. And I was depressed. And I get up early in the morning and just as a joke, and the Tuesdays are let me digress a little bit. The floor mats that we use, I take a picture of them every day so I'll know what day the picture was taken on during the cruise. And I've been doing that for years. That's why you see different fonts, different colors, different
Yeah.
shoes, things like that. So I just posted I thought, well, if I was aboard the ship, I'd probably be ordering the drink of the day. So I'm just going to post one. And I started to do the math, and I'm certainly no mathematician, but I know that I've been going right at 18 months and have not duplicated one drink recipe in 18 months. I have an extensive library of drinks, and I do a lot of research on it. And a lot of people say, well, do you drink all those? Well, absolutely not. I mean, you'd be watching an episode of Broken Hearts and Wounded Livers. I mean, no, I'm drinking all that. But we have two drinks that are our favorites. Actually, Lynn has three. Two. She loves margaritas when we're in the South, and I'm a martini drinker. I'm a gin martini drinker. And on my business card, when we're aboard, on the back, I have our recipe for exactly how to make my martini and hers, because I don't like sending them back. It upsets people.
Yeah. I'm a bourbon guy myself.
Jim Beam for me.
Typical of somebody that is from Virginia and went to school in Kentucky. So
understand.
All right. Let's see who's here with
now?
us this morning and if they've said anything. Like I said, Jack's down in Texas. It's 99 degrees. Carol's with us from Niagara Falls.
Oh.
107 with humidity. Yuck. Wow. I didn't know it ever got to 107 in Niagara Falls.
Are they drying up?
Down in Florida. Nikki's with us from Jacksonville. Cindy's with us in Florida. Everybody's saying hey. Gretchen's with us from out in Ohio. Going to be 92 there today.
Chillie?
Yes.
It may get loud here. I live in a 4-unit condo, and one of the neighbors has decided to fire up the lawnmower.
Yeah, well, that's okay. We're used to that.
All right.
Not any big deal. Let's see if anybody has any questions. Carol says the heat's unbearable. Yes. People love your name, Bubba. So do I. Let's see. A very handsome couple, they think. It's very nice, Gretchen. Looks beautiful. Been on a lot of cruises, but never to Alaska. I've cruised to Alaska twice. It's breathtaking.
It is.
Rob Slavin is with us down in Kentucky. Looking forward to his Alaska cruise next summer. That's great, Rob. Question for you, Bubba. Any not to be missed excursions?
I'm not real big on excursions. I've always been one to study where we're going, and I want to try to find that out of the way local flavor bit. But on this one, we were a little leery of that. So we did one excursion, and it was in Juneau. We did a panning for gold session, and they were real helpful, and they had the gold pans and the pans all set out for us with the earth on them. And toward the end, somebody actually dropped the ball that we buy this dirt with the gold already in it, which we're right beside this beautiful stream. And we kind of shot that one in the head, because everybody in the group kind of, after they did that and got their little 4 or 5 flecks, they got some dirt out of the water where it had been flooding, and they came up with just as much as these people had been paying for. And it was great. And from there, we went to a salmon bake. And being a Southern boy, you can appreciate this. You've been to a barbecue, baked beans and slaw and corn on the cob, and that's exactly what they serve with a salmon bake up there. But the salmon was amazing. Cute little lady serving it. You try my sauce, and it was great on it. But the highlight of that whole excursion was a stream running right along beside the location where they do the bake. And there were salmon running in it. They were in the middle of the spawn, and at the end of, about an eighth of a mile walk up a path is a waterfall that the salmon could not clear. And they're spawning right there, and that's the end of their journey.
Yeah.
And I was just so blown away and considered to be so lucky to see a wonder of nature like that on a cruise. It was amazing.
Did you luck into any whales at all?
No, I've seen more whales in the Caribbean than I have seen it. But that's not to say they weren't there. I guess if I had stayed up on deck and gotten my binoculars out and everything, I'd seen them before.
Yeah. I assume that you would recommend Holland America to anybody.
Without a doubt. I would not recommend, Holland's trying to change some of their image and get a younger crowd. And I know they have to do that to keep in business. I mean, face it, Chillie, we're getting up there. A few years ago, we heard a great saying from an elderly couple. And she said, we're in our go-go years. And I said, what do you mean? She goes, there's the wanna-go years, the gonna-go years, the go-go years, go slow years, and now the no-go years.
Yeah.
And it struck me that if we're going to do this, we must get out there now. My wife actually retired a little early, so we could go. And of course, what hit? And we have been here at our residence ever since.
Yeah.
Not that it's, I don't know if you can see in the background, there is the Mark Twain National Forest that butts right up to the back of where we live. And I've got my birds and I've got a swimming pool, and we're happy with that. But I would recommend Holland for anybody. If you're expecting a carnival cruise with dancing on the deck and all that, forget it. It's not going to happen. And I hope it doesn't. It needs to be, I think it needs to be the big kids room, but that's just my thought, 40 and up. I would like to try Cunard once, but, and they're part of the Carnival Cruise family, but they're a lot more overpriced than we can afford. So we'll stay off of that. We do have a European cruise, 28 days in 2022 that's scheduled, and 18 going out to Hawaii and back. And what killed me about Holland canceling all the cruises was we had Tahiti scheduled out of San Diego, and that was I'm dying to see Bora Bora and Tahiti. I don't want to schlep bags all over airports or anything. I want to go by ship. So that's my view on Holland. I think it is, having been on one other line and seen two or three others at very close range, it's the only line that I love.
Well, I'm with you there too. I've become a big fan of Holland America. I have not been on the Nieuw Amsterdam, but
it's beautiful. It is beautiful.
I love Holland America.
I'll tell you, my favorite is the Westerdam. It's an older one. And there's a story behind that. On our first cruise a million years ago, I don't know, how many of you ever had a meal with the captain of the ship? Well, we were visiting with the captain on the deck at the dive-in bar. And by that, it's a food bar, not a drink bar. He's not drinking on duty. But as he's preparing to walk away, we said, "You're more than welcome to join us at lunch." And he sat down, and the next thing you know, we're showing pictures of our kids and our grandkids and having a great visit. So I can honestly say that I sat at the captain's table for one cruise.
One of my regulars just popped in. She loves the Westerdam cruise to Alaska. That was
the Westie
that
is
was
a great
her
ship.
favorite cruise also. So, well, Bubba, I certainly do appreciate you being here. We'll definitely keep in touch, and next time you go on a cruise, you'll find the old fat guy coming back and saying, "Hey, Bubba, let's talk again."
Well, we are cruising on Brand X in 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
And I won't be doing any reports there. I have a certain amount of loyalty to Seth at Holland but I'll still be posting my drink of the day where I can get into port and get on the internet.
Awesome.
Have a
Well, I
great
do.
day.
I'm enjoying that. Of course, I'm going to start mixing one every day just to try it.
Chillie, if you do, just go ahead and get a liver transplant. You're going to need it.
Yeah. All right, Bubba, thank you so much for being here, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you, Chillie. Have a great day. And
all right, that was that was Bubba and Shumard, and that was a fabulous guest. Okay, now let's see if I can get turned around here and caught up with a couple news items that we need to take care of today, folks. And I've got some pictures to share with you as well. The first thing is Fred Olsen. Fred Olsen has become the first cruise line to complete an international voyage since the resumption of cruising, as the Borealis has returned to the UK from Iceland. The new ship Borealis set sail from the rugged landscapes of Iceland on August the 14th with around 800 guests on board. It was the first international voyage to set sail from British waters since the UK cruise operators paused their operation in March of last year. So congratulations to Fred Olsen and the Borealis. And the other thing, as way of news, MSC is heading in an interesting direction. The MSC Group, which is the parent company of MSC Cruises, announced that it would be launching a small ship luxury cruise line as built by Fincantieri Shipyard. The first of 4 luxury ships will set sail in 2023, with 3 others set to debut in 2024, 25, and 26. So we're going to be hearing some more from MSC in the near future. Okay. Now, our friend Elizabeth down in Cozumel shared with me some of the pictures of damage from the hurricane that went through. And I meant to use these yesterday. I had them all loaded up, and me was screwing something up. I completely forgot about it. But anyway, obviously you can see what that is. That's a little bit of a pole down. Some more damage there along the beach in Cozumel. Of course, this was all from Hurricane Grace, which by the time it got there was still a hurricane, I believe. And then, of course, downgraded to a tropical storm. But just some, tough conditions there in Cozumel. Could have been worse, but those of you that have been to Cozumel, most of you have, can tell that this is pretty rugged. So that's Cozumel. So, by the way, Elizabeth will be with me on Sunday on the Cruise Amigos, Sunday afternoon at 2:00. So we're going to be talking about all kinds of things in Cozumel. We'll talk about the storm some, I'm sure, and what's going on with cruises back into Cozumel also. The other thing, I interviewed our friend Emma yesterday. And of course, I didn't want to use that this morning with Bubba being on, but we'll probably have Emma on tomorrow. At least I'm planning that at this point. So let's see if anybody else has said anything over in the chats. Carol says she's going on a 28-day to Bora Bora in South Pacific in 2023. Sweet. Boy, would I like to do that. That's one of my bucket list cruises. Maybe I'll get my breathing back by then. Oh, wow. Katie says she's never been on Holland America. I tell you, I'm a big fan of Holland America. I mean, and I'm from telling you from up front that I was always a Carnival guy, but I loved Holland America when I started going, and I went on it the first time just because of the food. But then I really liked them. Nikki says, great interview. Thank you, Nikki. Where does Bubba post his drink of the day? Instagram? No, it's actually on Facebook. And it's Frank Bubba Shumard, Shumard. And it's delightful. I enjoyed that immensely. I enjoy now following him too. So check him out on Facebook. And he does every day. There's a drink post. And they did it every day on the cruise. They did a drink too. So that was great. And Bonnie saying hi to everybody. Katie has been to Alaskan Princess, going again in 22. That's awesome, Katie. Bonnie's done 5 Princess Alaska cruises. Carol's done 23 cruises with Princess. Wow. That's awesome. Bonnie says, I finally made it to Elite on my last cruise in 2019. Island Princess to Alaska. Lots of great perks with Elite. Cindy says, friends we cruise with love Hal. My favorite cruise is NCL, but I am now platinum on Carnival. Great interview. Thanks, Cindy. That was a fun interview, fun show today, guys. That's going to wrap me up for today. I titled this show, Have You Been to Alaska? So we may have had some folks that will either see this or maybe be joining us for the first time. So we'd like to invite you to subscribe to this channel. We do this every day, 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, when we talk about all facets of the travel and cruise industry. It's primarily a news show. However, we do interviews with folks like today's interview with Bubba on a regular basis, and it's a basis that I hope to do a lot more of and marry the news in with it. So that's my hopes for the future. Hope to continue with lots of interviews because they're such fun. So anyway, if you are new, hit that little subscribe button. The bell notification tells you when I go live or when I post a video. And of course, we always appreciate thumbs up. And feel free at all times to jump in the chat room with all the guys. They share stories back and forth constantly. They pay very little attention to me, which is probably a good thing. So that's it for today, guys. You guys have a wonderful day. I'll see everybody back here again tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Travel and Cruise Industry News with the old fat travel guy. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie Chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.